Can you hear the birds? We're standing in this beautiful garden. We're sort of a residential area, actually. I'm standing right next to a house here. Kind of hoping the owner's not home because I'm staring right into their kitchen window here. I'm pretty sure they're not home though, because there's a dead animal in the driveway that looks like it's been there for a while. And their lights are off. A lot of you watching are songwriters or music producers or like composers. Like, what's a good word to describe everybody? I guess it depends on the genre you make, right? But like, if you made God's Plan by Drake, what are you? You're not a composer, obviously. Music producer? I don't know, man. You got those distorted Rhodes, wobbly, way too much phaser, switching between two chords, dry hi-hats, and an 808 bass line. Which, by the way, should be illegal. Like, how is it that we're in 2024 and 808 bass is still considered acceptable? So what about songwriter? I mean, there's not much singing going on, obviously. He's just pretty much talking with autotune for some reason. And I mean, the lyrics...
I feel good, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, thanks, Drake, for like the deep dive into your emotional life. All right, so you're not a composer, you're not a music producer, you're not a songwriter, so what are you? I mean, rich, obviously. People love that stuff, mumble rap. But anyway, let's call ourselves music producers. And as music producers, we kind of struggle every day to come up with new chord progressions and new melodies that like make our songs stand out. Like, obviously not everybody, Drake's producer wasn't, but most of us are trying, to do something interesting. So that's why I'm here today. I'm gonna help you out, give you a couple of chord progressions revolving around this one specific chord. And it's quite unique. Not many people use them, actually. You can just throw it into any song, like maybe songs you already have, maybe songs you're working on, and it will give them a little bit of a unique touch, especially if you're a beginner or intermediate. This might be what could bring your song to sort of the next level. So the good thing about these chord progressions is that they work in any genre. It doesn't matter if you're making like indie rock or EDM or orchestral, you can just throw them in there. If you're making mumble rap though, you may want to be a little bit careful. You don't want to overstimulate your poor listeners there with a chord change. They might have an epileptic seizure, you got a lawsuit on your hands. So these chord progressions all revolve around one chord, which is the major version of the minor tonic in a minor scale. In a major scale, it's like the major version of the parallel minor. So in the key of A minor, we're talking about the chord A major. And in the key of C major, it's also A major, because it's And it's a pretty funny idea, right? Like, we got the minor tonic and now we're making it major. Like, how's that gonna sound? The thing is, the reason it sounds pretty cool is because A major is the dominant of the subdominant, which is D minor. So like, whatever. It creates a nice tension and it creates a very nice transition to D minor. It's not always used like that, but it's very common that you go from A minor, A major, D minor, or C major, A major, D minor, right? And that's probably mostly how it's used. We're gonna look at some songs. So the first one is Delilah by Tom Jones.
Shadows of love on her blind. She was my woman.
Beautiful song, beautiful voice. What's going on with his arm there though? Waving it back and forth. You may want to go see a doctor about that. It could be serious. Unless he's already dead. When you use this chord in a minor scale, it usually goes with these sort of melancholic chord progressions. So there's another song that sounds very much like Delilah, actually. I mean, it's very different, but it's because of this chord. So listen to The Way by Fastball from the 90s.
More important things to say. And when the car broke down, they started walking.
Yeah, there too. It's like going from A minor, and then it creates this tension by switching to A major, staying on the same bass note. So it's like, what happens? Like, it's not a chord change, you're just building tension from nowhere up to the D minors. Really cool. But yeah, sure, it has a little bit of a melancholic feel. You can't throw it in anywhere. Another song you might have heard that has the same thing is Prince Ali from the movie Aladdin.
Prince Ali, fabulous he, Ali Ababa. Genuflect, show some respect, down on one knee. Now,
Yeah, you can hear it there too, how it's like not quite a chord change. And this is actually like a very common thing to miss for people who are trying to transcribe chords. For example, if you go to some website that gives you chords like Ultimate Guitar, don't get me started about that. I mean, okay, we all know that everything on Ultimate Guitar is wrong, right? So one thing in particular that they miss is this chord. Maybe they listen to the bass note and like, yeah, it's the same bass note, but they don't hear this change in coloration. As you can tell, it's still sort of a melancholic, a little bit Middle Eastern or Eastern European feel about everything. Another song, which also is in this theme, is one of my favorite old songs, like super unknown, like a Romani song. You gotta love it though, right? It's like this really worker song, like they're coming out of a 12-hour shift in the coal mine. Two of their friends just died in a collapse, and they're like, okay, we're going to throw in the dominant chord of the subdominant. Let's go. You remember though, you can always throw in the dominant 7th chord. So instead of just A major, you play A major 7. That also creates like maybe even more tension. It's great. You can play around with it, use it. All right, so let's try this. I'm going to play you a song where I'm throwing in an A major, although it's not really an A major because the song is not in A minor. See if you can hear it. I'll take a little walk around here, show you the area, and listen out for that A major. All right, could you hear it? It's a bit tricky, it's pretty quick. It's just a transition, you know? Go back, listen again. All right, so let's move on to major scales then. In the minor scale, it sounded kind of melancholic whenever you use this chord. I don't know if melancholic is a good word. It's always hard to find words that describe emotions, right? But like you heard in Delilah and The Way, like it has a very distinct minor-y sort of sad feel. But when you're in a major scale, it doesn't quite sound like that. You get a very distinct sound still, but it's just different, and it depends on how you, like which chords you're surrounded with. So let's go through a few songs that use it. No One But You by Queen, which is like Freddie Mercury is not singing that song. They wrote it as like an homage to him. So I think it's the bass guy, Brian May, or was he the drummer? Anyway, he's singing, got a great voice. Listen to this.
A hand above the water, an angel reaching for the sky.
Yeah, so there it's a little bit different because it uses the first inversion of the A major chord, meaning C sharp in the bass, but that creates this kind of walk-in bass line where you have from C to C sharp to D, because it ends on the D minor. And it's quite quick. It's just a transition. It's pretty cool. I like, if they had skipped that chord, they could just go to D minor right away, but it wouldn't be the same thing. You need that transition chord. So another song that uses this chord is Every Time by Boy Pablo or something like that. I'm not sure who the guy is. I found the song on YouTube a while back. It has like 50 million plays, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's a bit of a one-hit wonder. It's a pretty fun video, I guess. Like maybe it became a YouTube thing. So listen to this.
She doesn't know who he is. No, she doesn't know what he's up to. Oh, she doesn't.
Now in this one, it's not as much of a transition chord, maybe. It's actually like a chord that's part of the song, and if you change it to A minor, it's just completely different. You gotta love that keyboard guy, though. Like the way he's shaking his head, he knows what you're up to. All right, before I move on, I'd like to remind you that there is a like button and you can subscribe. It would help me out. I have like 2 subscribers and half of them are my mom. So anyway, let's go back 200 years to Frédéric Chopin and his E-flat major nocturne. Nocturne. I don't know if you're surprised that we're talking about chords even in classical music, but you know, it's all chords. And the classical composers are actually like the masters of chords. They can probably take any chord and cram it into any song and make it sound good. Like here, we had C major to G with B in the bass to A7, and then it kind of continues. And it's just so seamless. Like it doesn't sound like a transition or like it's out of place. It's just like a beautiful melody. Last song. This one uses the chord completely differently. Some Chords by Deadmau5. Deadmau5. Number 5. Yeah, here was not a transition. Here you can tell that the whole song pretty much revolves around the switch from A major to A minor, right? That's probably why the song has its name, Some Chords, because it contains some chords. 4 of them. One of them is a bit weird. Subscribe. Anyway, so I'm going to play another song. Try to listen out for the A major. It might be quick. Keep your ears open. Also, keep your eyes open because I'm going to grab the camera. Going to show you around this place a little bit more. See if we can see some birds or lizards or bees. Let's go. right, so that's it. And why does it look like I have sideburns in this lighting? Do I? I need to cut my hair. Today we've learned how to use the major version of the minor tonic chord to create some cool transitions. If you have a song that you're working on right now, try to throw this in. It'll be unique. According to hooktheory.com, only like 0.2% of songs contain this chord, so you'll be like the belle of the ball. Anyway, see you next week.